I think you are going to see, within a decade, much more widespread use of directed energy laser weapons across all battlefields, land, sea and air.
In 10 years' time, the British forces as they are now will not look the same, with the exception, if they survive, of the carrier task groups.
We'll have 2 aircraft carriers, we'll have F-35s flying around.
We're going to see increasing use of hypersonic missiles.
The battlefield will probably see more autonomy in some of the weapons stations. We'll probably see more autonomous resupply in our logistics vehicles. And we'll see a great deal more UAS and other capabilities that are organic to small units. But we won't see the transformative capabilities coming online, I think, until about 2035, which is really in line with what the United States is looking for in terms of next generation capability.
It is going to be interesting to see how modernisation of all 3 services goes in the next decade. Some pretty massive decisions have to be taken. There are so many areas which are growing threats, both at low level but also higher level, cyber warfare of course. But the use of lasers as weapons to disable and destroy is starting to accelerate rapidly. I can easily see a situation in decades' time where, for the sake of argument, every Royal Navy and Royal Fleet auxiliary ship has several laser weapons. The next class of fighter aircraft entering service from 2030 will have directed energy weapons.
Quite different missile systems, which will be almost mini ballistic missiles, mini cruise missiles, smaller missiles, far different duties to do, far different ranges, a bigger mixture of range.
I think one of the key capabilities is theatre entry and mobility, long-range reach. How quickly can you get to the area that you need to be, and can you redeploy rapidly? So I think there's going to be a transformation in terms of the mobility of our units. That's a key priority. And then I think we're also going to see a transformation of capability in terms of the level of sensors. The battlefield is going to become a place where deception is more valuable than camouflage, because you will be picked up quite easily, whether that's through your electronic signature, whether that's through sophisticated radar or thermal imaging. It's going to be harder and harder to hide.
Military technology is moving very quickly at the moment. And I think what we're really seeing in terms of armies is the fact that we're increasingly engaging enemies at distance. People talk about the deep battle, using missiles to destroy the enemy a long way away from your formations before they close and attack you. We're going to see a lot of technologies that will enable that to happen with greater effect. So longer range missiles, like the US Deep Strike with a 499-kilometer range. We're going to see against land targets very hard to intercept, and also we'll see those being used at sea.
Well, having 2 aircraft carriers is quite a significant capability, and that does allow us a true expeditionary capability, especially given that we'll have 2 of them and presumably 1 will always be available. So as long as that carrier is backed up by a decent carrier strike group and our amphibious forces are maintained, that does allow us quite a formidable capability for limited operations overseas, as part of a wider NATO operation, for example, or you could see it being used for non-combatant evacuation operations, all kinds of international contingencies where those kind of forces could be very important.
Cyber will have an effect. I see the greater effect on the military as being what happens to the civilian base, which then affects the military. If, for the sake of argument, the British Army is trying to deploy from Salisbury Plain down to the Channel Tunnel using the railways, and someone is able to hack into the signalling, and basically red lights go on everywhere, and someone's going, well, what do we do? That is let's call it an attack on civilian infrastructure, but it has a military impact. If then on a battlefield someone is able to completely jam your communications network, so no one can speak to each other, no one can pass digital images, whatever, that is a very military cyber attack.
And if you're enjoying this series, like and subscribe to our channel.